If you don't ask, they'll never tell you, and you'll never know. It's not the obvious disrespect that hurts the most. It's the quiet, hidden kind, the kind that makes you question your worth without even realizing it. The subtle ways people chip away at your value, one interaction at a time, until you find yourself wondering why you feel so small around them. You know the feeling, that gnawing sense that something's off. They smile when they see you. They say the right things, but underneath there's a current of dismissal so quiet you almost convince yourself you're imagining it. You're not imagining it. The truth is, most disrespect doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with flashing lights or dramatic confrontations. It comes disguised as politeness, wrapped in excuses, hidden behind, "I didn't mean it that way." It's the friend who always changes the subject when you share good news. The colleague who interrupts you in meetings but listens intently to others. The family member who cancels plans with you but never with anyone else. These moments accumulate like sediment in a riverbed. Layer by layer, they build until the current of your self-worth shifts direction entirely. You start second-guessing yourself. You begin apologizing for taking up space. You find yourself working harder and harder to earn something that should have been freely given. Basic human respect. But there's a way to see it. 4 simple questions that cut through the fog of confusion and reveal the truth about who truly respects you and who doesn't. These aren't questions you ask them. These are questions you ask yourself about them. Questions that illuminate patterns you've been ignoring, behaviors you've been excusing, and truths you've been avoiding. Because here's what I've learned. Respect isn't a feeling, it's an action, and actions, unlike words, don't lie. Question 1. What happens when you say no? Picture this. You've been saying yes for months. Yes to extra work. Yes to plans you don't want to make. Yes to favors that drain your energy. Yes to conversations that go nowhere. And then, one day, you decide to say no. You set a boundary. You decline the invitation. You refuse the request. You choose yourself, just this once. What happens next tells you everything. They smile when you say it. Of course, no problem at all. But something shifts in their eyes. Something cold creeps into their voice. The warmth you thought was genuine suddenly feels conditional. They get distant. They get short. Or worse, they push back harder, making you feel guilty for having needs of your own. I thought you cared about this. You never used to be so selfish. I would do it for you. The guilt comes fast and heavy. You start wondering if you made a mistake. Maybe you should have just said yes. Maybe you're being unreasonable. Maybe you're asking for too much. But here's what's really happening. Your no just revealed who they really are. A person who respects you sees your no as part of your humanity, not a threat. They understand that boundaries aren't walls meant to keep people out. They're foundations that make authentic relationships possible. They don't punish you for having limits. They don't make you feel selfish for protecting your energy. They don't withdraw their affection the moment you stop being convenient. Think about the people in your life who handle your no with grace. They might be disappointed, but they don't make their disappointment your burden to carry. They accept your decision without making you explain or justify or apologize for having boundaries. They recognize that your ability to say no makes your yes meaningful. Now think about the ones who don't. The ones who go silent when you set a limit. The ones who argue with your boundaries as if they're negotiable. The ones who make you feel guilty for having needs that don't align with their wants. This is your first revelation. Respect is revealed in how someone handles your no. Every time you set a boundary, you're conducting a test. Not a manipulative test designed to trap someone, but a natural test that reveals character. Because when you say no to someone who truly respects you, they may not like it, but they'll honor it. They'll see your boundary as evidence of your self-respect, not a personal attack on them. But when you say no to someone who doesn't respect you, they'll see it as rebellion, as selfishness, as something to be overcome or punished. They'll make you pay for choosing yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that how we respond to others' choices reveals more about us than about them. Marcus Aurelius wrote about accepting what we cannot control, including other people's decisions. A person who truly respects you embodies this wisdom naturally. They don't try to control your choices. They respect your right to make them. Your no is not a rejection of them. It's an affirmation of yourself, and anyone who can't see the difference doesn't deserve your yes. Question 2. How do they handle your success? You got the promotion. You finished the project. You reached the goal you've been working toward for months. You're proud, genuinely, deservedly proud, and you want to share this moment with the people who matter to you. So you tell them. You share your good news with excitement in your voice and hope in your heart. And then you watch what happens next. Do they light up with genuine joy for your accomplishment? Do they ask questions about how you did it, what it means to you, how it feels to have achieved this goal? Do they celebrate with the same energy you brought to sharing the news? Or do they do something else entirely? They congratulate you, but it feels hollow. They change the subject quickly, as if your success is an interruption to more important matters. They find ways to diminish it. Oh, I'm sure they had to promote someone. They make it about themselves. I remember when I got my first promotion. They point out the challenges ahead instead of celebrating the victory you've already won. Or worst of all, they go silent. Your good news is met with a polite smile and uncomfortable quiet, as if you've just confessed to a crime instead of sharing a triumph. This is the second test of respect, and it might be the most revealing one of all. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." But here's how this wisdom applies to relationships. A person who truly respects you never makes you feel foolish for growing, achieving, or succeeding. Your success doesn't threaten them. It doesn't trigger their insecurities or activate their competitive instincts. They don't see your wins as evidence of their losses. They understand that life isn't a zero-sum game where your gain must come at their expense. Think about it. When someone you truly respect achieves something meaningful, how do you respond? You're genuinely happy for them. You want to hear the details. You celebrate with enthusiasm because their joy becomes contagious. Their success doesn't diminish you. It inspires you. This is how respect looks in action. This is how people who value you respond to your victories. But when someone doesn't respect you, your success becomes a mirror that reflects their own insecurities back at them. They can't celebrate your achievement because they're too busy comparing it to their own perceived failures. They can't share your joy because they're too consumed with envy. Envy is respect's opposite. Where respect celebrates, envy diminishes. Where respect lifts up, envy tears down. Where respect sees your success as evidence of your worth, envy sees it as evidence of their inadequacy. The ancient Stoics had a term for this. They called it the discipline of desire. They understood that our reactions to others' good fortune reveal the state of our own character. A person with disciplined desires, someone who has worked on themselves and found contentment in their own path, can celebrate others freely. But a person driven by undisciplined desires, by constant comparison and competition, will always struggle to honor others' achievements. Here's your second revelation. A person who envies you will never truly respect you. So here's what you do. Celebrate in front of everyone. Share your wins without apology. Watch who claps when you succeed, who asks follow-up questions, who seems genuinely excited for your growth. These are the people who respect you. And the ones who go quiet, the ones who change the subject or find ways to diminish your achievement, they've just shown you exactly how much they value your happiness. Believe them. Your success is not something to apologize for or hide. It's evidence of your effort, your growth, your commitment to becoming who you're meant to be. Anyone who can't celebrate that doesn't deserve a front-row seat to your life. Question 3. Do they respect your time? Time is the most honest currency we have. Unlike money, which can be earned and lost and earned again, time moves in only one direction. Every minute you give to someone is a minute you'll never get back. Every hour you spend waiting is an hour stolen from your life. This is why how people treat your time reveals everything about how they see your worth. They ask you to meet at 2 p.m. You rearrange your schedule, cancel other plans, show up 5 minutes early out of respect, and then you wait and wait. At 2:15 you get a text, running a few minutes late. At 2:30, another, almost there. They finally arrive at 2:45, breathless with apologies and excuses, as if their lateness is something that happened to them rather than a choice they made. But here's what you notice. They're never late for their boss. They're never late for the client. They're never late for the person who could promote them or the friend who might judge them. They're only late for you. Or maybe it's not lateness. Maybe it's the last-minute cancellations that always seem to happen when something better comes up. Maybe it's the way they text during your conversations, scroll through their phone while you're talking, or take calls in the middle of your time together. Maybe it's how they expect you to be available whenever they need something, but they're mysteriously busy whenever you need them. These aren't small things. These are profound statements about how they see your value in their life. When someone respects you, they show up, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. They arrive when they say they will, because they understand that your time is valuable. They give you their attention because they recognize that attention is love made visible. They keep their commitments because they know that reliability is a form of respect. But when someone doesn't respect you, your time becomes expendable. Your schedule becomes flexible in ways theirs never is. Your needs become negotiable while theirs remain fixed. They operate from an unconscious assumption that your time is less valuable than theirs, your commitments less important, your presence less essential. This pattern reveals itself slowly, subtly. One cancelled plan becomes a habit of cancelled plans. One late arrival becomes a pattern of disregard. One half-hearted conversation becomes a relationship built on divided attention. The Stoics understood that time is our most precious resource because it's the only one we can never replace. Marcus Aurelius regularly reminded himself of life's brevity, not to create anxiety, but to inspire focus. He knew that how we use our time and how we allow others to use it reflects our deepest values. Here's your third revelation. Respect is measured by how people treat your time. Think about the relationships in your life where you never have to wonder if you matter. In these relationships, plans are kept, attention is given, and presence is honored. These people may not always be available, but when they commit to being somewhere, they show up. When they're with you, they're actually with you. Now think about the relationships where you're always making excuses for their behavior, where you've learned to expect less because they've trained you to accept disappointment, where you find yourself grateful for the bare minimum because you've forgotten what genuine care looks like. A person who respects you doesn't make you beg for their attention. They don't make you compete with their phone for eye contact. They don't cancel plans with you because something more exciting came along. They understand that consistency in small things builds trust in big things. Your time is not a consolation prize. It's not something to be given away to anyone who asks or wasted on people who don't value it. It's a gift, finite, precious, and irreplaceable. Make sure you're giving it to people who understand its worth. Question 4. Do they listen, or just wait to speak? You're sharing something important. Maybe it's a struggle you've been facing, a decision you're trying to make, or an experience that changed how you see the world. You've chosen to be vulnerable, to let this person see something real and meaningful about your inner life. And as you speak, you watch their face. You notice their body language. You pay attention to how they respond. Are they present with you in this moment? Are their eyes focused on yours, their attention fully engaged with what you're sharing? Do they ask thoughtful questions that show they're trying to understand, not just waiting for their turn to talk? Or are you watching someone who's clearly preparing their own response while you speak? Someone whose eyes dart around the room, whose body language suggests impatience, whose first words after you finish are about their own similar experience? This is the fourth and perhaps most subtle test of respect, the quality of their attention when you speak. Real listening is rare. Most people hear words without receiving meaning. They wait for pauses in conversation, like runners waiting for the starting gun, ready to launch into their own stories the moment you take a breath. They nod at appropriate intervals and make affirming sounds, but they're not actually absorbing what you're sharing. They're just managing the social contract of conversation while their minds are elsewhere. But when someone truly respects you, listening becomes an act of love. They don't just hear your words, they receive your meaning. They don't just wait for their turn to speak. They make space for your thoughts to be fully expressed. They ask questions that show they're tracking with you, building on what you've shared, rather than redirecting to their own agenda. This kind of listening requires something precious, the temporary setting aside of one's own ego. It requires believing that what you have to say matters, that your perspective has value, that your inner world is worth exploring. It requires seeing you as a full person with complex thoughts and feelings, not just as an audience for their own stories. The Stoics wrote extensively about the art of attention. They understood that where we place our focus reveals what we value. Epictetus taught that we should listen with the same intensity we'd want others to bring to listening to us. Marcus Aurelius practiced the discipline of seeing others as complete, complex beings, worthy of genuine attention. Here's your fourth revelation. Someone who respects you listens to understand, not to respond. Think about the conversations that leave you feeling energized and understood. In these exchanges, you feel heard, seen, valued. The other person asks follow-up questions that show they were tracking with your thoughts. They remember details from previous conversations. They make connections that prove they're actually processing what you share, not just waiting for their turn. Now, think about the conversations that leave you feeling drained and invisible. You walk away feeling like you could have been talking to a wall. Your words seem to bounce off them without leaving any impact. They somehow manage to make your story about them. your struggles about their solutions, your moment about their experience. The difference isn't just in communication style, it's in fundamental respect. When someone truly values you, they value what you have to say. When someone doesn't respect you, your words become background noise to their own inner monologue. The greatest gift you can give someone is your full presence. The greatest sign of respect is receiving that gift in return. If you find yourself in relationships where you're always the one listening, always the one asking questions, always the one making space for the other person's thoughts and feelings, you might be giving your attention to people who don't know how to reciprocate. Your thoughts matter. Your experiences have value. Your inner world is complex and worthy of exploration. Don't settle for relationships where you're treated like a supporting character in someone else's story. The pattern emerges. Now step back and see the bigger picture. These 4 questions aren't random tests. They're windows into the same fundamental truth. They reveal whether someone sees you as a full person worthy of consideration or as a convenient character in their life story. When someone respects you, they honor your boundaries without making you feel guilty. They celebrate your success without making it about themselves. They value your time by showing up consistently and giving you their attention. They listen to understand, not just to respond. When someone doesn't respect you, your boundaries become negotiations. Your success becomes uncomfortable for them. Your time becomes expendable. Your words become background noise. The pattern is unmistakable once you know how to look for it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's what's crucial to understand. This isn't about perfection. No one handles all 4 of these areas perfectly all the time. We all have moments where we're distracted, running late, or struggling with our own insecurities. The question isn't whether someone occasionally falls short in these areas. It's whether there's a consistent pattern of disregard. Respect reveals itself in patterns, not in individual moments. It's the cumulative effect of hundreds of small choices over time. It's the difference between someone who generally shows up and occasionally disappoints, versus someone who occasionally shows up and generally disappoints. Stop hoping. Start asking. If you don't ask, you'll never know. For too long you've been hoping. Hoping they'll change. Hoping they'll start appreciating you. Hoping they'll begin treating you with the respect you deserve. Hoping that if you just give a little more, try a little harder, or make yourself a little smaller, they'll finally see your worth. But hope without action is just wishful thinking, and wishful thinking won't change someone who doesn't want to be changed. The truth is, you already have everything you need to see clearly. You don't need their confession or acknowledgement. You don't need them to admit they've been disrespectful. You don't need their permission to value yourself. You just need to ask the right questions and trust what the answers reveal. What happens when you say no? How do they handle your success? Do they respect your time? Do they truly listen? These questions aren't accusations. They're investigations. They're tools for clarity, not weapons for confrontation. Ask them quietly, in the privacy of your own mind. Ask them consistently, over time, until the patterns become undeniable. Ask them with the courage to accept whatever truth they reveal, even if it's not the truth you are hoping for. Because here's what I've learned. The people who truly respect you won't require these questions. Their behavior will make their respect obvious. The people who don't respect you will reveal themselves through these questions, no matter how well they've hidden it before. Respect isn't a feeling that exists in someone's heart where you can't see it. Respect is an action that shows up in behavior where you can't miss it, and behavior doesn't lie. The choice is yours. Every interaction teaches you something. Every boundary you set reveals a truth. Every moment you stay silent or speak up shows whether they respect you or just use you. You have more power than you realize. The power to see clearly. The power to ask the right questions. The power to stop accepting less than you deserve. You don't have to live in the gray area of uncertainty, wondering if you matter to the people in your life. You don't have to keep making excuses for behavior that makes you feel small. You don't have to keep hoping that someday they'll change when they've already shown you who they are. The ancient Stoics taught that we cannot control other people's actions, but we can control our responses to them. We cannot force someone to respect us, but we can stop accepting disrespect. We cannot make someone value our time, but we can stop giving it to people who waste it. Your worth is not determined by how others treat you, but how others treat you should determine how much access they get to your life. Ask the questions, watch the answers. Trust what you see, not what you hope for. Some people will rise to meet your standards. Others will reveal that they never intended to. Both responses give you valuable information. Both responses help you make better choices about where to invest your energy, your time, your trust. The people who respect you will welcome your boundaries, celebrate your success, value your time, and listen to your words. They'll make space for the full person you are, not just the convenient parts they prefer. The people who don't respect you will resist your growth, compete with your achievements, waste your time, and treat your voice like background noise. They'll want you to stay small so they can feel bigger. The truth will set you free. Stop waiting for signs. Start seeing the truth. The truth is that respect is earned through consistent action, not granted through hopeful thinking. The truth is that some people in your life see you clearly and value you deeply, while others see you as useful and value you conditionally. The truth is that you deserve relationships built on mutual respect, not relationships where you're constantly proving your worth. The truth is that these 4 questions will show you exactly where you stand with every person in your life, and once you know where you stand, you can decide where you want to go. Ask the questions, watch what they reveal. Respect is earned, not owed. But remember, it works both ways. As you're asking these questions about others, ask them about yourself too. Do you honor other people's boundaries? Do you celebrate their successes? Do you respect their time? Do you truly listen? The respect you give creates the standard for the respect you should receive. The energy you bring to relationships sets the tone for what you should expect in return. You are worthy of respect. You always have been. You don't need to earn it through perfection or purchase it through self-sacrifice. You don't need to make yourself smaller so others can feel bigger. You don't need to apologize for taking up space in a world that belongs to you as much as anyone else. Ask the questions, see clearly, and never settle for less than respect. The people who matter will understand. The people who don't understand don't matter. That's the truth. And the truth, as they say, will set you free.